I just want to preface this by saying that I was visited by Liam Payne the day after his death on Thursday morning. He wished to talk to me about fame. And I made a voice recording about that. And there was correlation between him and Justin Bieber and Luke Newton. So I didn't put that out because I didn't like there were certain words that I used that I didn't care for. So I said, if it comes to me again, it comes to me again. If you guys want me to put that out anyway, I will. But right now I have Liam with me. And he's been with me for a while. He's been with me since Thursday. But he's not been with me solely. He's been visiting, because this is what happens when a soul sees my light in this 3D reality, and they go, oh, that's a telephone. And they go, oh, I have some things I want to say. Especially when you end in, when your life ends in such a way as his. So he's stepping forward. He sent me over a very long stemmed white rose. Symbol for hope, love, and deep respect. He's giving that to everyone that is listening. His fans especially. He had reverence and respect for his fans. He really did. Oh, man. I said, what do you want to say, Liam? He said, I'm happy it's over. I know that that's not easy for some people to hear, but that's the truth. The thing you have to understand about me is that I was not living my authentic. I was not living my authentic self. I wasn't portraying that. This lifetime was a lot of like, this is heavy energy, guys, because he, not only did he die in a tragic way, but he's just passed. So I might have to just take some time to breathe, because this is a lot for me to feel him. I have to take it like little by little. He knows that he can use my faculties. He says, where do you want to begin? I was in a boy band. He says, I would think that people would understand how transparent that lifestyle is. He was a very creative person, right? And he wrote a lot of music, and everybody around him really did appreciate his like caliber of songwriting. But they knew that he was going through a tremendous amount, and anyone who met him saw, he says, they saw some of me, but not all of me. And the people that were intuitive and perceptive understood that I was not being my authentic self fully. He hid a lot of things. He hid. Hiding. Layers. Right? Such a fear. A lot of things were birthed in childhood for him. And especially with the father's side of the family, the father's father. And that, I think, is really strange, because I see the same in Luke Newton. That there's something on the father's side that is passed down that is hereditary, and it's like a challenge in this lifetime is to redo it and see if you can transmute it and change it so you don't pass it down to your son. He didn't pass it down to his son. That's a good thing. He's showing me that his only regret was not being able to be with his son. That's his legacy. He said the music was great, the lifestyle was great, the boy band thing, the fame, not the fame. He said not the fame. Okay, let's talk about that. But his greatest legacy is his son. That's what he meant to say. He said fame is a trauma that I went through, that we all went through. All of us as individuals, we were all in the same boat, right? But we all got affected by the waves in different capacities and in different ways. We processed the fame differently, but it was all a trauma to all of us. Some of us were built and more equipped to handle it than others, but it was still a trauma. And it didn't start there for him. He had other traumas before the fame, right? But he thought that the music and the artistry and the creativity would help him to become the person that he wanted to be in this lifetime. He was hoping that that was going to be how he set himself apart as an individual. He said, I don't know why he just said this, I was bored. And maybe that means, what does that mean, Liam? What does that mean? I was stuck and I was bored. So there was no okay, because the trauma from the fame was a contributing factor, but he was also stagnant. Like he's telling me I was stagnant and I was erratic and I couldn't satiate myself. I couldn't find myself. It stopped me from being able to find myself. The fame aspect is layered. I wasn't very young, but I was young when I became famous. We all were. But that was a detrimental thing to our psyches because we weren't who we were meant to be yet. We weren't developed. The fame and the trauma of the fame starts you on a path, he's saying, starts you on a path towards destruction. At least that's how it was for me. Why? Because I was unable to cope. Why? Because I was still so scared to be myself. I was unable to cope with the fame. He's talking about like compilations of things like I was unable to be myself. I got hit with the fame. I'm isolated now. Fame isolates you. You have to understand that your circle becomes so much smaller once fame hits you. I didn't know who I could trust anymore, and I was already a distrustful person from childhood. You didn't trust. Yeah. He didn't trust. He was not... Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So he's saying that as an individual, he he wanted to be able to transform. And the band and the music and what was created during the time, he was not able to continuously become a different version of himself, which is what he was meant to do at several, like many points in his life. He wanted to become a better and better version of himself and try different things on for size, but he was limited. And so the fame aspect of it, the trauma, he was not transforming into different, better versions of himself. He was transforming and becoming worse versions of himself, thus zapping the creativity entirely and stunting his growth. I don't think that anybody knows how to help young people that go through this fame, the trauma. And it needs, oh, wow. Okay, he just said, my death is the transformation I was looking for. My death is the transformation that I wanted and needed. Not that I wanted to go out. Not that I wanted to go out like this. But he said, I had to make a difference somehow. My death is going to make a difference in that people are going to start to wake up to how to prioritize young people that experience fame and give them the mental and emotional and physical and spiritual help that they need. Because we need it all. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and I was an empty cup, and I was hurting. And he said towards the end of my life, like not the end of my life, but within the last 4 years of his life, he's saying that he said, I was operating only from a place of pain and suffering. Okay, so all of my motivations were being drawn from that. I needed to feed my fear. I needed to feed my ego. That is where I was operating from, because I was not happy. I was not happy. I was not fulfilled. And all of the things that I used to use as a coping mechanism, I couldn't do anymore. And I'd fall off the wagon, and I'd give myself my stuff, and I would get high, and I would get drunk, and I would do all the things, and thinking that would fulfill me. Then it's on to the next thing, to feed my fear, to feed my ego. Because that was the only fruit. He said, when you get destroyed and you are operating from that unhealed place, you are coping with anything outside of yourself that you can grab onto. Sex, money, drugs, alcohol, parties, food, anything like that. You name it. I was doing it. Anything that could give me a high, I'm doing it. Because that's all that I was shown for so long. I was shown that that's all that there was to me. And I think he just really, oh, poor Liam. He said, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't face myself. I was so scared that I was gonna die by facing who I became. I thought it would kill me. And you know what happened? I actually died because I didn't face my fear. I loved my fans. My fans. The truth of them and how they really saw me was the only thing that made me even have a glimmer of hope that I could overcome what I was going through. And my son. He said, there's a purity there that I always saw. He said, I know that you guys didn't see the real me. When you were loving me, you were loving the me that I portrayed myself to be. That was made for me, that was designed for me. The cardboard cutout in one direction. That wasn't really who I was. It was a persona, but there are some of you that saw beneath that to the true me. And I know that I felt that sometimes from you. I think he's bringing up one of his sisters right now. Blonde hair, blonde hair, blonde hair. I'm seeing blonde hair, blonde hair. Sister blonde hair. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know his family tree. Loved this sister. Loved. I think a lot of his the female relationship, the goodness that he had inside of them, he got from the love of this sister. He said he was very serious. He was a very serious person. He didn't really know how to have a good time and switch from being serious and driven to then being fun. It was difficult for him. His bandmates saw that very clearly. They didn't know how to handle me sometimes because he was really intense. You could have like he said, I was quietly intense in that I would snap sometimes. I would snap. You wouldn't know it's coming, but it's coming because I'm building it. All the little things that bother me built up inside, and then I would snap. Okay. Now he's talking about his death. He said that's something that happened, even though I wasn't around anybody necessarily for them to see it. This is the buildup. This is the pattern. This is what happened. The pattern. He says that the drugs and the drinking and the lack of support around him is what led to the snap. And the snap led to his death. The compilation, the not understanding how to apply the help in rehab that he got to his life. It was all up to him, and he just didn't know how to do it. He said, I had all the tools, I just didn't know how to use them on myself. I didn't think I was worthy enough. He said he experienced a lot of shame. When you're in the public eye, you experience a lot of turmoil. You, excuse me, you think that you have to be perfect all the time. It's an impossibility, but you tell yourself, well, that's how I perceive other famous people to be, so I guess it is a thing. I could be perfect for them. I could transform into perfection and pretend that I'm perfection. I can do that. But really, he's like, all I wanted to do was make music. I loved it. I loved that. But that died. That died. I let that dream die. Yeah. He's showing me a lot about his childhood. Whenever I have a second, he's always showing me this red ball. I don't know what that is, but it's in a back garden of his house, or a house. Green grass all around, back garden. You can hear like nature, but there's this big red ball. I don't know if he played like kickball or football, soccer. I don't know what the red ball represents. Represents something to him. Relationships with women, I idealized them in my head. I cared more about my image and how they made me look. And that is what I showed them was their worth to me. I couldn't be myself even with the closeness of that kind of bond. I couldn't show them. He couldn't show himself. When you avoid yourself, you also avoid showing that self to anyone. He doesn't want to let me feel what happened to his physical body when he died, because he cares about me right now. He doesn't want to give me that sensation, which I appreciate and love, though I am trying. All I see is the head first. It's head first. He's saying that, he says he went crazy. He just went crazy. And it wasn't like any other time before. He said he's mentioning the snapping and the getting triggered and kind of just things compiling and him snapping. This was more than that. He said it was psychosis. It was a mixture of the drugs also, but it was psychosis. No foul play. No foul play. But he was I wonder what was going on with his communication via the internet at the time, or text messages, phone calls, text messages, emails, phone calls. There were things. So if they have that information, they're going to be able to see what was going on between him and others over over his phone, his laptop. There were things that were triggering, that were helping the situation along, unfortunately. I don't mean to say that anyone caused this. It's not that. I caused this. He's taking full responsibility for that. He's taking full responsibility, guys. The hotel might actually face some repercussions. I'm seeing something as far as the law. They might actually be facing some repercussions. And it has to do with locking him in his room, I think. And not doing so safely, but also just the general locking a person in their room. They're going to face a little bit more repercussions. They might be closed. They might be closing for good after this, or at least they're going to change the layout. I don't know how they would do that. Change the layout of the hotel. But this is, yeah, there's stuff going on there. He's talking about being a sacrifice. And he's saying that it's not in the way, the conspiracy theory way. He says, like, I am the sacrificial lamb for change. And I like that I can say that I am. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like none of this was pointless. It makes me feel like I had a purpose and I fulfilled it even though I died. I have such love for my mother. I want to talk about my mom. My mom loved me so much. And I miss her. And I want her to know that I'm near her. I want her to see me. I want to say goodbye to her. She's not doing okay right now. Please love my mom, but don't hound her. The public, just, I want my bandmates and my friends and my other family members to really rally and around my mom. But like the fans, we love you, but we need time. Please give me and my family time. He says me and my family time. He means, yeah, oh, okay. He's saying that it's hard to transition from the physical reality to the spiritual reality when everybody is focused on your energy. It's not easy to be at peace when that happens. So obviously there are a lot of eyes on him. He's wanting to, he said he hasn't done his life review yet. But he's halfway there. He said, I'm halfway there. I just need a little bit of time. There's a lot going on. He's fine. He's fine, guys. He's okay. He's processing things. He's processing his life. There were times where he says, my boys, and he's talking about One Direction, but he'll also bring in some of his close mates that were men. They helped me not be so serious and to be more lighthearted. And I want to thank them for that. Because they helped me laugh through a lot of really painful things. I laughed through painful things. He was such a sensitive soul. Oh my God. And he was so unique. Too, like he was here to really radically change something, and he's done it. He's done it. His death has radically shifted and radically changed something major within the music industry, within Hollywood, within any pocket of fame. His life is not for naught. My life is not for naught. Which means not for nothing. Powerful, purposeful. He said it might not have unfolded the way that I wanted it to. And I may have missed some lessons in a very, very personal and specific way, but I came here and I conquered. He's proud of that. He's really, yeah. He's processing, guys. He's getting into the love. He's showing me that he had so much to wash off of him when he left the body. Like, he had to cleanse. There were so many layers of just gunk and dirt and grime on his soul that he had to remove. And he took some time to, like, he was like standing there with it all, like, this is what I was carrying around. He didn't know until he left that he'd been carrying around so much. He knew he was, but he goes, I was a really strong human being for being able to do all of that and to actually breathe every day. So the fact that I lasted this long, even though I was 31, I lasted longer than most people would if they were given that same load to carry. I'm at peace, everybody. I'm at peace. I think this is where I have to leave it with him. But if I get a visit from him or he wants to chime in and say more, I will do more. To all of his fans, to anybody who knew and loved him, One Direction, anything like that, I am sending you so much love and healing. I used to be a One Direction fan back in 2012, but I kind of dropped off after their first 2 albums and watching all of the silliness, the silly interviews and stuff on YouTube. I had a friend who pulled me in. She was very into One Direction, so she used to send me all of the video clips. And I might actually have to go watch some of those and laugh. That was good stuff. I loved them. I thought they were a really, really good group of boys. And yeah, so I'm sending you a lot of love, and know that I'm in support of you during this time. And if you have anything you wish to say in the comments, do feel free to leave it here. It's a safe space for you to do so. Sending you guys so much love now and always.